The first knock came at 2:14 a.m. Not loud, not violent, just 3 slow taps. Knock, knock, knock. I woke up instantly. For a moment, I thought it came from the front door. Maybe someone outside, maybe a late visitor. But then it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. This time I realized something that made my stomach tighten. The sound wasn't coming from the door. It was coming from under the floor, from the basement. The house I rented was old. Not charming old, not rustic old, just tired. The basement door sat at the end of the hallway. Heavy wood, thick frame. When I first moved in, the landlord told me something strange. Basement stays locked, he said. I asked why. He shrugged. Storage. The key never came with the house. At the time, I didn't think much of it. But after that first knock, I couldn't stop staring at that door. The next night, I stayed awake, watching the clock. 2:30 a.m. Silence. 2:14. Knock. 3 taps. Slow. Patient. The sound was clearer now. Definitely from the basement. Not pipes. Not wood shifting. Something was knocking from underneath the floorboards. I waited, and after a long moment, I did something I still regret. I knocked back. My knuckles touched the floor once, twice, 3 times. Then I waited. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then suddenly, bang! Something slammed against the basement ceiling so hard the entire floor shook. I stumbled backward. Dust fell from the baseboards, and then it began scratching. Not at the door, not at the walls, directly beneath where I stood, like something was trying to climb through the floor. The next morning, I called the landlord. I told him what I heard. Silence filled the phone for a long time. Then he asked one question. Did you knock back? My stomach dropped. How did you know? Another long silence. Then he said quietly, don't open the basement. And he hung up. The knocking returned every night. Always the same. 2:14 a.m. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 more. But after a week, something changed. The knocking started moving. First beneath the hallway, then beneath the kitchen, then beneath my bedroom. Every night it followed me, like it knew exactly where I was standing. One night I noticed something strange. The hallway floor felt cold. Not cool, not drafty. Cold like ice beneath the boards. I knelt down and pressed my palm against the wood. And that's when I felt it. Movement, slow, dragging, directly under my hand. Then 3 knocks echoed through the floor, right under my fingers. I started hearing something else after that. Not knocking, breathing, very faint, like someone whispering through dirt. One night I pressed my ear against the floor. The knocking stopped instantly. Silence filled the house. Then a voice whispered from beneath the boards. Soft, dry, let me out. I didn't sleep at all that night. I couldn't ignore it anymore. The basement door sat at the end of the hall like it was watching me, waiting. The knocking started earlier now. 1:50 a.m. Then 1:30. Like whatever was down there was getting impatient. And one night, the basement door handle moved, slowly, back and forth. But the door was still locked, from my side. I searched the house history. The property records went back nearly 80 years. And I found something strange. The house had been renovated in the 1960s. Specifically, the basement had been sealed and reinforced. No explanation. No permits describing why. Just a note that read, structural containment. Containment. 3 days later, the landlord came to the house. He looked exhausted, older than before. In his hand was a single rusted key. He placed it on the kitchen table. You shouldn't have knocked back, he said quietly. Then he left. I stared at that key for hours, because deep down, I already knew what I was going to do. That night, the knocking started earlier than ever. 1:07 a.m. Louder, faster, almost desperate. The basement door rattled in its frame. Knock, knock, knock. I picked up the key. My hands were shaking. The lock clicked open. The door creaked slowly as it swung inward, and cold air poured up the staircase. Air that smelled like wet earth, and something else, something old. The basement was pitch black. My flashlight beam cut through thick dust. The stairs creaked with every step, but halfway down, the knocking stopped. Complete silence filled the basement, like whatever had been making that sound was now waiting. The The basement floor wasn't concrete. It was dirt, packed soil, and in the center of the room, the ground had been dug out, then covered again, fresh, uneven, like something had clawed its way upward from beneath the earth. As I stepped closer, the dirt shifted, very slightly. Then something pale pushed through the soil. A hand, long fingers, too thin. The skin looked gray, rotting, but the fingers moved, slowly curling through the dirt. And then the knocking started again, from the inside of the ground. The dirt collapsed inward. Something underneath began pulling itself upward. The fingers spread wider. Then a second hand appeared. Then arms, thin, twisted. The thing crawled halfway out of the earth. Its face remained buried, but I could hear it breathing. Wet, shallow. Then it spoke. "You answered." I ran up the stairs, slamming the basement door behind me. But the knocking didn't stop. It followed, through the walls, through the floors, through the house itself. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 more. Everywhere. The police said the basement was empty. No dirt disturbance. No hole in the ground. Just a sealed concrete floor. The landlord sold the house 2 months later. A new family moved in. And every night, at exactly 14 a.m., they hear 3 slow knocks coming from the basement. And sometimes, if the house is quiet enough, they hear someone whispering through the floorboards, waiting for someone to knock back.